Hey, what's up, guys? This is Shadow of the Moon 87, and tonight I'm going to be bringing you a deck profile on my newly finished Smorgh deck. There was a little bit of a setback with this. It took me a little bit to get the deck core, but it was well worth the wait because I was able to just put it together and I can finally show you guys. This is going to probably be the last Winged Beast deck profile that I do, a new one. I'm going to be uploading soon my first two deck profiles, my Blackwing and my Harpy deck, my main ones, because I kind of think that the lighting was a little bit crappy. That was due to me having an non-HD digital camera, and it was the first time I was uploading videos. So I'm going to actually probably be uploading those, re-uploading them, and you actually will get to see in better quality too, and HD. So without any further ado, ready to show you guys this awesome deck. And one thing you're going to know about this deck, it's mainly just the deck, and then I have the extra deck with it, but you're not going to need to use a lot of the extra deck cards. This deck doesn't really rely on the extra deck. You see I've got Great Fly there, and a few other ones that I was able to throw in just for flavor, but for the most part, this is just going to mainly be the main deck. So, without like I said, without further ado, probably tired of my rambling, move on and show you guys this great deck profile. And to start things off, the main purpose of this deck is to bring out this guy and to bring out the other Simorgh of Darkness, which is a level 8, because the whole thing is you want to be able to have the big bird monsters on the field. You want to be able to have those guys because they can do and wreak a lot of havoc. So, to start things off, you're going to have 3 Simorgh, Lord of the Storm, and he's the main guy in this deck next to, as I told you before, Simorgh of Darkness. And he has 2,900 attack, 2,000 defense, and he has 2 effects. Basically, he can recycle himself from the graveyard if a Winged Beast monster is destroyed. And on top of that, he can, when a spell or trap card or effect is activated, I contribute a win monster and target a card that my opponent controls and put it back in the deck. So he recycles the cards and puts them back in the deck, and he can recycle himself from the graveyard if a monster gets destroyed. Next we've got Simorgh of Darkness, and he works the same exact way as the first one, Lord of the Storm. The only difference is he actually destroys spells and traps, and he can recycle himself from the graveyard too. So, I mean, that's the big purpose of these things. They're big, they're bulky, and they're going to hit you hard. Then you've got I've got one Dark Simorgh, and Dark Simorgh is an excellent card to this deck. It's an older card, but it's still really good, and having a wind and a dark monster in my graveyard, I can special summon this from my hand by banishing it. Or if he's in the graveyard, I can discard a wind monster and a dark monster, and I can special summon him from the graveyard. And it works well because he counts as a wind and a dark monster. So if I have him in the graveyard plus a wind monster, boom, he makes it to your opponent can't set cards. And trust me, that is definitely going to really hurt them. Alright, then we've got 3 Simorgh Bird of Beginnings. He's actually really good because he allows you to do a additional normal summon the same turn if he's normal special summon, meaning you can use him to bring out the level 7 or 8, and if you have the field spell, makes it to where he only needs the 1 sacrifice. The whole main purpose of this deck is lowering the levels and decreasing them so that way you can bring out the big guys on the field without much trouble, and once they come out on the field, they're really hard to get off. Alright, we got Simorgh, Bird of Bringing, and he searches for a Simorgh card. And most of these cards are going to have the same effect. If your opponent controls no cards on the field, you can special summon them from the graveyard in a defense position. Now, this is really good to keep in mind because for the first time, this deck actually benefits from going first. Most of the time, if you're facing somebody that has a deck, you don't want to go first because, you know, chances are you're going to set your entire board up or you set your entire field up, and your opponent's going to completely just decimate you on the next turn. This deck, not so much, because you actually benefit from going first. Next we have Simorgh, Bird of Calamity. And as you can see here, if this card is in your graveyard and your opponent controls no card, special summon it from my hand. And if he's normal special summon, I can send some more cards for my deck to the graveyard. So he's good for deck recycling. You dump the monster in the graveyard that you need, and then you can use that to bring out the big guys and special summon the lower level ones for it. Then you've got Simorgh, Bird of Protection. And he targets cards, he targets spell and trap cards, and returns them to the hand, so he wipes their backfield. And then yes, I have 3 Harpy Dancers. Now you're probably wondering, why in the hell do you have Harpy Dancers in this deck? Well, for one thing, it's a winged beast, and for another thing, the effect of bouncing cards back to the hand can be very beneficial in this deck. Alright, so that's all the monsters, and now I'm going to show you the field spell. This is essential for this deck, because you need to be able to have this on the field. As you can see, Elborz, the Sacred Lands of the Simorgh, and I'm going to just be honest with you, I completely apologize if I butcher any of these names. This is a deck profile, and, you know, Japanese can be sometimes hard to read, or foreign languages for that matter. And this, all winged beasts gain 300 attack and defense, and once per turn, I can either reveal a level 5 or higher winged beast type monster, and I can normal summon it for less tribute than the card. And then if I control wind winged beast, I can immediately after the effect resolve normal summon a winged beast monster. So this is what you want on the field at the beginning of your turn. The idea is you want to be able to at least have this on the field, because this can lower for 1 less tribute, and you can summon the wind monster. And with all else fails, if by some chance I don't draw that, got 1 Mausoleum of the Emperor. You pay 2,000 life points, normal summon it. And of course the 2 terraformings, you gotta have the 2 terraformings. And then bam, Simorgh Onslaught. This allows you to discard a winged beast monster and add 2 Simorgh cards from your deck to your hand. Now that's going to be very beneficial. That's necessary, because if you have this, you can add the field spell, and then you can add Bird of Bringing, or you can add the Calamity monster to your hand, and that's what you're going to want to do in this deck. You want to be able to make sure that you can get out the big birds, get out Lord of the Storm, and get out Simorgh of Darkness. And yeah, I know I keep saying Big Bird. I apologize. This isn't Sesame Street, even though my son watches a lot of that. And then you've got 3 Simorgh Repulsion. And this is discard a winged beast monster and return all cards your opponent's spells and cards to the hand. I mean, just completely board wipe. That's what this deck does. It brings out the big monsters, and it protects them by wiping your opponent's backfield. And then for flavor, 2 trade-ins, discard a level 8 monster, which is basically everything in this deck, which is all the big giant bird creatures. Discard, draw 2 cards. Can't go wrong with that. 1 Lightning Vortex, 1 Monster Reborn if I have to bring something back, and 1 Swords of Revealing Light. And now for the traps, just 2 Simorgh Sky Battles. I noticed when I was playing with it before that it clogged the hand up and stuff, and you only really need 2 at a time. And all my winged beast monsters can't be targeted by opponent's card effects or their monsters attacked, except for winged beast monsters with the highest attack, meaning the only thing that can really attack is the big monsters, which is what you're going to want to do. And you can send this card to the graveyard. This card, 2 Simorgh monsters you control with different original attributes whose original levels are 7 or higher. Return as many cards in the field as possible, and if you do, take 500 for each card returned to the hand. So that's what makes it only using 2 is the secondary effect, but the first one is, I mean, that's really good maintenance to where only the big, you know, Lord of the Storm and Simorgh of Darkness can attack. And then you've got 2 goes in matches. This is good because of the attribute, because since this is primarily a wind deck, this is good because your opponent who uses anything but the same attribute is going to have a hard time keeping up. They have to keep sacrificing the monster. And then last but not least, just 2 Dust Tornadoes for that backfield destruction. It'd be the same if it was like an MST. Alright, so now for the extra deck. And like I said, there's not that much in here, just because you know, this deck doesn't really need an extra deck. It flows better without having it. So you've got 2 Great Flies. This just pumps up wind monsters by 500, meaning, you know, Simorgh of Darkness and Lord of the Storm, they get beefed up by an extra 500, making them over 3,000. I just got a Raid Raptor, Blade Burner Falcon for direct damage, 2 of them. And then last but not least, a Raid Raptor Force Strix, and this is to search for my level 4 Dark Winged Beast monsters. And that is the deck profile. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I always enjoy and look forward to actually uploading these each and every week. And just stay tuned for my next deck profile. I'm going to be redoing my Blackwing deck, my main deck, finally in better quality. So you'll actually be able to see the cards and you won't have to squint. I know the booster box that I'm opening, you can't really redo that because since it's a booster box, you can't redo that once you open the cards. That's it, sadly. But at least with the first 2 deck profiles, I'll be able to upload them and show you guys. And once again, thank you so much for watching me in my channel. Make sure if you liked any of my content, subscribe to it, and just post on the bell for any notifications. I only usually update about once or so a week or 2. So, I mean, I don't upload a lot, but I usually try to upload as much as I'm able to and put stuff out there for you guys. Once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.